back to a special after show of Forever and a Day with my amazing co-star Matthew Preston. Matthew, how are you?
I'm feeling extra because we have an extra after show.
I love your shirt. I
Thank
feel
you.
like that's extra too, but I love it. You have to let me borrow it. I feel like I need to
Yeah,
get in your
no,
closet.
I am all about the flowers and the vibes and the seas and the good times, and summer's all along the way and spring is here and good time. That's why I'm
Well,
wearing a good time shirt.
they call me a good time girl, so we may can see how that work out. But listen, I'm excited to bring on. Well, I don't know how excited I am, honestly, because I feel like the character of Antoine is coming out. But
You should
in
be
all
excited.
seriousness, I'm very excited to bring on my dear friend and co-creator of Forever and a Day, Candace Mack. Hi, Candace.
Hey everybody, what's going
Hi.
on?
There's no reveal. You were already on, but we're
I was
like,
already here. I was already here.
um,
I was like this. I was like Danielle. I was like, I'm not waiting behind closed doors. I'm coming out. I'm gonna let everybody see the beauty of it all.
I'm actually gonna say this is well within character for you to try to hijack something that I am co-hosting.
Notice you're co-hosting and not owning it.
Okay, first of all, this is between Matthew and I. I'm not gonna do this with you back and forth. No, Candace, listen. You
um, where
and
where's
go
my
ahead.
popcorn? Because this is good. This I'm
You
like,
don't
who
want no
needs
smoke.
who needs TV when you get them these two right here?
Well, listen, I have to say, Candace, before we like jump into it, it has been an absolute pleasure being frenemies, I guess we can
Yeah.
say, with Antoine and Danielle. I think that, first of all, I'm so blessed, and I know I talk about it a lot on the after show to you and both Casey for bringing me onto the show and having me play this part. And then, I know that, like, I don't really know much about your background, but I think you're a terrific actress. And I have to tell you, I feel like you. I feel like you sell it. And I know that, like, coming into a show where maybe or may not that you've acted before, I think that you're so good. And the love and respect that you and Casey have for the soap genre really shines through in this project. And I'm so incredibly proud of you.
Well, first and foremost, kudos to you guys both. And I know that I speak on behalf of all the fans this season. You guys brought your A game to not only the show, but to the after show. You guys killed it this season. I got to give props to you guys. And, I surrounded myself with good peeps because, yeah, I did a little acting here and there, but nothing like major, major. So to me, the pressure was on to
Yeah.
be like, okay, I'm gonna act like I know what I'm doing, even though I don't know how to do it. And so
Mhm.
I really studied from you guys on like emotions and how to deliver the lines and everything else. But the Danielle side of me is trying to not come out because there's something that she wants to say. But I'm gonna not let her come out just yet. I'm not gonna let her come out just yet. No, no, no.
Well,
Wow. Okay.
since the last time we had you on the after show, and by the way, wonderful casting choice, I believe, for the after show. If I'm used to so myself, just kidding, I'm not that narcissistic. But something that I want to know: how did this Alex and Danielle pairing come to be? Was it you, or was it Casey? Was it Tyler? Like, how did this happen?
Definitely her.
Okay, so here's the deal. I think it goes with the whole soap situation of you always have the nosy girl who runs a tabloid or who's just kind of not on everybody's radar, do something to really kind of cause a spark with one of
Yeah.
the main characters. So with Danielle, I mean, yeah, okay, she's trash.com. She's the heart and soul of Augustus. Be quiet. But I mean, she is a woman. I mean, she has needs. And with Alex is just a player. So I'm just gonna say that the way it happened was we were talking about it during one of our cast parties about who would we like to work with.
Hmm.
And Tyler had Tyler David, who plays Alex, who killed it again. His character, woo! He made a comment of saying, "I would like to mix it up with some characters," and he started naming some characters. And at the same time, Casey and myself was already thinking of possible hookups. And that was actually one of them because, again, it was Alex Bennett, who's, just like his daddy.
Just like his daddy.
Man ho.
Oh my gosh. Wait, by the way, Candace, this past Sunday show, we had on Tyler, we also had on Quinn, and this was a really fun game that we played where somebody had said, I think it was you, said, please sing Danielle a theme song, and I came up with one. And I actually extended that song, and I sent it in our little group chat. Did you like it? What'd you think of it?
I did, and you know what? I didn't ask that question. I actually a fan said that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm not that narcissistic. Wow, okay. But no.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Wait. I wish I could play it. Wait, where is it? Let me.
What? The
little wait. Okay.
Wait.
This is a voice note. This is like behind the scenes in the group chat. Let's see what we can do.
We don't have that stuff.
Trash.com and her brother's back in town, but he's dating her nemesis and he won't have none of it. Oh, she's trashy, so trashy, and she slept with Alex Bennett because she's Danielle.
Listen,
these are things I think of. These are things I think of when I can't sleep at night.
I just like to point out that I think that was probably one of the highlights of season 2 was that, here you have Alex, he's going through his whole issue with Leslie and, with Emma and, Colin and, whatnot. Who would have thought that he was going to sleep with the girl that was allegedly going to post pictures of Laken and Caitlyn? Allegedly, and I state that, I put that claim, allegedly. I don't care what Sky or anybody else says about Danielle. Danielle is a saint. But
no one believes in Danielle like her portrayer. But I'll say this. Listen.
Her brother does.
Something I actually was about to bring up. I actually was going to bring that up. So I love the sibling relationship between you and Tony. I think it's so interesting how I was watching something the other day on TV, and I was just like, it's crazy how I was watching reality TV. I was watching Housewives of New Jersey, and I was looking at Joe and Teresa, and I was just like, it's so interesting how when you have siblings and your kids and you grow up and you still have that like sibling thing where, we were kids and we did it and now we're adults. I really love that through all the pain that you and that Danielle and JJ went through, that you still are there for each other. And I actually, even though I'm Team Antoine, I appreciated JJ standing up for his sister because, the cardinal rule is, it's like, listen, I can talk about my friend or my family member or my loved one, but you cannot. And I think that just carries so much weight. And on a personal note, Candace, the way that you have very much written the African-American characters, the way that you and Casey have carried the LGBTQ characters with such care, I think is brilliant. And I get messages. I've actually gotten several, which doesn't surprise me, about the fact that we have Black love between JJ and Antoine. So what really made you, as a co-creator with Casey, come to the decision to put these two characters together?
Well, I just want to point this out that Casey is the creator of all things Forever and a Day. I'm just the executive producer and co-head writer, but sometimes I do feel like I do create the world too a little bit, but that's no shade. I love him dearly. Here's the thing. I think, we're all fans of daytime television. And one of the things that has irked me the last decade is the non-representation of same-sex couples. We can go into that. And to me, I feel as though Agnes Nixon, William J. Bell, Erna Phillips, and them wanted to create a world that reflects the world itself. And with the JJ situation, I felt as though, why not? To me, he's a human being.
Yeah.
You cut him open. What color blood does he bleed? Red. Just like Matthew, just like me, just like you. He's human.
I bleed purple.
Really? Okay, Mark.
I bleed rainbow, but no, I really do respect that, and I think that I've heard from Ben Bryan, but I also heard from another gentleman on Twitter who was African American gay, and he spoke out. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he spoke out, and he was just like, I think it's so important to hear Black love. He said, I wish.
Yeah. Instead of the negativity of it all, and I think that's the thing is that on our show, and I say this, you know, we have a Juliet storyline.
Yeah,
we have Black love. No, this is nothing, you know, with the 4 soaps currently on television, but why aren't you doing it?
Yeah.
Why? What is there to say don't do it? We take pride, by the way, Pride is serious. Thank you. In that is that this is everyday life. This isn't, you know, like sparkles and glittery vampires or anything like that. This is reflecting on the world we live in. And yes, there's a lot of positivity and not negativity.
Yeah.
So,
well, by the way, and speaking of Twitter, we do have a question for you, a fan question. It's from Feeling Vindicated, who asked a lot of questions, and I love that. Thank you for questions. So for Candace, would you ever run a website called Trashed? She put trash.com. Trashed. Not trash, trashed.com.
I wouldn't do it, but I would do it. I wouldn't do it and tell anybody. I wouldn't tell everybody like, hey, you know, I'm running this website. I would do it on a DL.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Well, Candace, listen, I love you to death. I know we have our little back and forth. You know, with Antoine and Danielle, but I think what you have created and this character of Danielle and the way you portray her is beautiful. I can't wait to see what comes up next. Before we let you go, Candace, I want to ask, I know you spoke earlier about how the question was asked to Tyler, but who would you like to share a scene with on Forever and a Day moving forward, and why?
So many people, but I would definitely have to say one of my crushes, Lauren B. Martin.
I love that.
She's kick-ass. Like, I'm sorry. I know we can cuss on here. I just think she just brings such a energy to the show as well as everybody else. But Lauren, can you imagine? First and foremost, I would not pay, Danielle would pay her whatever she asked for. So it's like 5 cents, 5 cents. Mm-hmm. I'm not getting hit by a car.
I mean, listen, well, here's hoping that neither Danielle or Antoine or even Jonah gets hit by a car moving forward.
Oh no, but you know what? Hey, Mr. Bennett. Hi.
What's up?
Your son said very nice things about you.
Oh, she's nasty and I love it. Listen,
oh my gosh.
Thank you so much, Candace.
Thank you guys.
Danielle, for joining us today for an extra special Forever and a Day after show. We can't wait to see who's next. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
We are back with one of my favorite co-stars, Christina Sullivan. She's also a JLJ Media darling. Welcome, Christina. How are you? Hi.
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
You know, fantastic. Having a good time, having a little catch up with the cast. And we also have, I cannot forget about this, the whole reason why we are here right now, the creator and other writer of the show, Casey Hutchinson. Hi, Casey.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Casey. Before we get started, I have to say, Christina, I know I said this to you before, the emotional weight that you've had to carry with the role of Stephanie has been a complete journey, from your standalone episode to the finale, which I thought was kick-ass. Your line literally about never turn your back to the target. I was like, all right, girl, I feel you. Let him know. Like, don't ever try to play me. I just want to commend you on the wonderful job you're doing, because I know how difficult it is. And I talked to, I believe it was Tyler and Quinn this past Sunday about how difficult it is to do a show when you're not in each other's face. When you're, and Casey, this is a detriment to what you've been doing, and commend you guys for the writing and everything. It's really difficult, to be able to sell something and we get the emotional love from the fans and everybody. So congratulations to you, Christina, on everything that you've done with that character.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's fun. Girl, I was cheering. I plugged it up to my living room like speakers, and all of my roommates was like, yes! And I was like, she did! It was great. It was a great moment.
I have a two-part question for Christina and for Casey. So for Casey, it kind of looks like it could be another go-around for Jonah and Christina. Oh my God, Jonah and I do it all the time. Jonah and Stephanie. Why not? But Jonah and Christina, that's pretty much almost not the same person.
No, Stephanie likes Jonah, but Christina, I'm not sure if Christina would like a guy like Jonah. I kind of don't think so.
That's good.
You know what? The way you asked that question reminds me, and I'm going to give a little behind the scenes here. I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was close to the back half of the season, and you two had a scene together. And we actually had to say cut and retake it because you two were talking like it was a gab fest on an episode of Sex and the City. It was hilarious. And so the way you just said Jonah and Christina, my mind immediately went to that night that we recorded that scene.
Well, I guess I do remember that.
Like, definitely Matthew and Christina are not the same people as Jonah and Stephanie.
I think they're friendlier with each other. I think Matthew and Christina are closer friendship-wise.
Yeah, like Matthew and Christina, like if I was in New York, we would go for a drink and have lots of fun. But Jonah and Stephanie, I mean, they probably have drinks, but it'll be a totally different type of thing.
And Jonah is also, he's just so serious. He's always so serious, except for now he's kind of turning a new leaf on this whole not doing politics and not doing Stephanie, I guess we can say. So I think that the difference also is that Jonah is such a serious guy, but he's also kind of turned a new leaf, especially because he's not doing politics and he's really at the moment not doing Stephanie. But Casey, you're kind of making it look like they're going to do it again and possibly get back together. And Christina, if that does happen, do you want that to happen?
Well, I mean, I think it was season 1 where Jonah was asked, like, okay, if you don't win the election, what does that mean for us? And now in season 2, you see he did not win the election. He's not even in politics at all. So I kind of do think the door is wide open for them to reconnect. So I don't know. The writers tell me nothing, so I don't know what's going to happen. But I mean, I think story-wise, there still is a lot more to explore with that relationship. So I'd kind of like to see them reconnect and see where it goes.
Well, and I just have to say that Stephanie is a very complicated character. We certainly this season, we got to see her kind of toss Isaac to the side, but Isaac still be in her life because of everything concerning Donovan. Donovan is still very much somebody who was stalking her, but now, she might have solved that problem. And then, you have Jonah, who's out of politics, and they had a lot of close scenes in the back half of the season. So in the middle of all of this, though, you have Stephanie confronting her past. You have Stephanie kind of wanting to stand up more for herself and be a strong, independent woman. So there's a lot of layers there. So in terms of Stephanie's love life, I think that is definitely at the root cause of a lot of her problems. So who knows who she will be with? Who knows?
Well, I think but you're just not telling anyone.
I could quite possibly know. Again, who knows? I just, tune in.
But what soap heroine did you draw inspiration from to create the character Stephanie?
Oh, that's a great question. I actually remember when I did the original story Bible. So, of course, everybody already knows that the show was once supposed to be a little bit of a shorter run. I originally conceived it as kind of an audio miniseries, maybe something that could do a second season, but definitely not something above like 20 episodes. But in the original story Bible, Stephanie was going to die. So it was kind of going to be a telenovela murder mystery type thing. But regardless of that, what's always stayed consistent is Stephanie definitely is a character that was created out of my love for all the strong soap women that I've ever loved. So there is a little bit of Erica Kane. There is a little bit of Victoria Lord. There is a little bit of Nikki Newman, who, by the way, is my personal favorite. And there's even a little bit of Jill Foster in there. So, yeah, I mean, it's really a combination of me kind of showing my love for the women who really built the popular decades of this genre. She's got heart and soul. She loves people. She loves herself. So it's just a hodgepodge of everybody that I've come to love who has been a leading lady in the genre.
Well, Christina, I absolutely love working with you. I think you're amazing. I'm hoping that we get to have more scenes together. I'm sure that we're going to.
Feeling is mutual. I like working with you as well.
And yes, and you do need to come to New York City and have drinks with not just only myself, but also Dorrell and Casey. That goes for you as well. Yep. And you grab your drink or your snack or your seltzer or your whatever it is that you're eating and drinking. And we'll be right back with more cast members on the Forever and a Day Season 2 Extra After Show reunion. And we are back with two characters who have such a connection with each other, but they don't know it yet. They don't know it yet.
They don't know it yet.
They know.
I mean, right? This is like
I don't know it yet.
We have Elizabeth Von Isser, who plays Elaine, and we have Aaron Clark, who plays Stephen. Welcome to you both to the After Show Extra reunion.
Well, thank you
guys.
And I'm so glad that we are joined by our creator, Casey Hutchinson, again, because we got more questions for him about his motivation behind these two characters. Hi, Casey. You ready?
So yeah, I mean, where do you even begin to describe the mess that is Elaine Harper and the equally as messy Stephen Langenfeld? There's certainly two of our favorite characters to write for. Me, Candace, Emmy. I know Tom Racina even loves them. Elaine, to me, is just a character I've always had in my mind and a character that I've always wanted to put on paper. And Liz just brings that character alive so beautifully, and she really gives new life into the words that we put on the paper for her, especially with the alcoholism story, which I'm sure we'll get into. And then with Stephen, what's interesting is we always knew that, one day the show had to bring on Colin's biological father, had to explain that. So I will never forget me and Candace, talking about how do we bring that character into the fold, because we're going to have to play that beat. And so we just started brainstorming ideas about how his entrance into town should be. We went through like 3 different entrance scenes. And then we just settled on the episode where Melanie first dreams that he's called her, and then later on they meet at the hotel. So, I mean, the characters were both born out of natural necessity for the storyline. Of course, Liz's character has been there since day one. Aaron came in as Stephen to play a major beat of a major story. So yeah, it was just so easy to conceive these characters. And then Liz and Aaron make it even easier to write for them because their talents are just amazing. So we're definitely blessed.
So I think I have a question from the Twitterverse, which ties in perfectly for these actors. It's from Ashley Morgan. She wants to know, my question for the cast, how is it different acting the show out over Zoom versus having face-to-face interaction to play things out? Thanks. I guess Stephen. I keep doing it again. I keep calling the actors by their character names and the character names by the actors. I've done
You
it
do
so many
keep
times
doing
for the
this.
recaps.
He does it all the time. It'll stay that way
all the time. But we'll go ahead and we will ask Aaron. Aaron, what is the difference?
Well, Aaron is synonymous with Stephen anyway, so you know.
I love that.
Oh, how is it different? Well, the first thing that I noticed moving from, say, a film set or a stage to the Zoom experience was it was a little trickier to hone in on the other person. You know, I often see when I'm face to face with another actor, I want to ideally be so enveloped in the work and the scene that it becomes tunnel vision. It's like, you know, whatever's around, especially if it's an audience, it just fades. So I was more used to that. It's kind of like, you know, hooks and pipes, if you will. You want to hook them, and you want to have all this in the tunnel vision. So being so deep in the imagination and the emotional state of being that everything else dissolves and you're in that universe that you create from the imagination. So without that being present, you know, it's essentially the same thing. I'm just in a different environment. But it was a little trickier to connect at first to the actor through the Zoom process. But on the flip side, it ended up being much more relaxing because I'm sort of half lounging. I'm doing the work, but it's not on a set. Things aren't, you know, boom, 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 like they generally are. The set transforms. So they're both enjoyable. They're just a different experience, but it did take a bit of an adjustment.
I always love listening to Aaron because whenever you speak, it's like a master class. I feel like I'm in like in an acting class with you.
I said, "Wow!"
Right?
He was literally. And I think it speaks to, you know, what you and the rest of the cast. I mean, we were talking about this earlier on with Candace. Like, it is very different. You know, I've never played a role in this type of way where you couldn't connect with a person, because where I was trained, it's like, you know, face on. But listen, voiceover actors for, you know, animation, they do it all the time. And so I think that, I guess we really kind of mastered it. And I remember the first season I had with Beth Ellers was my first scene, and Beth actually called me because she was just like, I want to do a rehearsal. So we get on the phone. An hour goes by. We haven't read not one scene. And I'm like, oh, Beth, oh my God, I'm sorry. We've been talking. I didn't get to rehearse. She said, we just did. And that meant so much to me because it was that moment. She was like, our first scene, the lines are great, but it's more about us connecting as individuals because we have no other way to do it because we can't be in person. So for me, I really appreciated that. And I think that a lot of other people, you know, took that on themselves as well.
Right. She's spot on. That's how you connect and build a character.
Yeah. And Elizabeth, you had so much happening this season. Something that I want to know, was there a particular episode or a season that you had maybe the most challenging work to do for this?
Well, I think certainly it evolved into when Elaine really started sinking into her old addiction with the painkillers and alcohol. And I wanted to be able to portray her in a realistic way and not a over the top way. And so I had to really sort of call upon some personal experiences and things like that to really be able to try and portray her and give her a level of humanity that was really necessary for people to be able to connect with her. And yeah, so I think that whole arc of her sort of going down that rabbit hole was the most challenging for me, but also the most rewarding too, I think.
That's why you're going to win a Capital City Web Award. I predict it. It's going to happen.
Honestly, listen, I have to say, Matthew has said that several times when you haven't been present, even Elizabeth. So I feel like he's putting it out there, and so far, a lot of things Matthew says, like, I enjoy both of you. I think the work that you do is unparalleled. I hope that I get the opportunity to share scenes with both of you. I don't know if the writers are listening, but I would love to share.
Wink, wink.
They're right there.
I would love for that to happen. And again, Elizabeth, to you, I think the work you're doing with the alcoholism, it's untouched, and it means so much to people around the world. So thank you for that. And Aaron, thank you so much for your portrayal of Stephen. I can't wait to see what happens in the future with him.
Yeah, thank you. It's been fun.
And also, by the way, I'm hoping for an Elaine and Isaac pairing.
He is hoping for that.
Season 4, season 5, I don't know. And if you who are watching and listening have not already done so, you can always go back to the archives on JLJ Media in the YouTube, and you can listen to the after show. You can get the masterclass experience with Aaron Clark, and also listen to how Elizabeth Von Isser actually really she dug so deep for this character of Elaine in season 2. And you, the listener and the viewer, don't go anywhere, because we have so much more happening with the Forever and a Day season 2 extra after show reunion coming up soon. So Dorrell had to go and take a little bit of a break, and we brought back his on-screen rival, Candace Mack, who plays Danielle, and we also have my on-screen rival, which we didn't really have any interaction with kind of ever, but we still talked about each other from behind our backs, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Brett Lawrence, who plays the evil Gunnar Harper. Welcome, Brett Lawrence.
Oh, look at that. Oh, look, you see that? He's thinking, he's plotting. Interesting.
Very evil. No. Gunnar's evil. Brett Lawrence isn't.
Yeah.
And we learned that from your after show, because we're telling people, if you haven't already seen it, you have to go back to the archives in JLJ Media on their YouTube page and watch the after shows that you might have missed, because there's a lot that happened. But Candace, I know that you have some questions for Brett, some fan questions.
I didn't do it. I swear. I wasn't even in that.
No, they did not
state.
come from Brett.
I was not in that state.
So let's hear it, Candace.
Okay, so this question comes from a Bridget Green, who would like to know from Brett, was it hard playing the role of Gunnar?
No. I mean, it was hard to wrap my head around it, but I mean, we all have bad sides of us and terrible thoughts and things inside, and we generally bury them, but as actors, we access them and use them. So it's not who I am at all, but I know that in another life, I could have easily been that guy, and so I can find him in me and do an honest representation of what I would be like if I were that guy, rather than playing at him. I didn't want to play at him. So I tried to find him in me and give you that.
So we actually have another fan question for you. It is from Mama Lou, #1 fan, and they want to know, Gunnar, why are you so mean to my daughter, Emmy? Why is it that you want her out of your life? That was from an actual question.
Well, Gunnar says that it's because he knows who Emma is and knows that she is not a nice person underneath it all. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what, it does not matter. The child will come into this world. Okay, I can deal with that. But I know who she is because she and I are way too similar. That's why I know who she is. She's conniving and backstabbing, and I recognize it.
That was a real fan. That wasn't from me. I swear.
Yeah, political rival trying to make me look bad.
No, never.
Ooh, okay. Well, I have a question. Actually, this actually came through a text from df@trash.com. She would like to know who would win in a fist fight, Gunner or Jonah? I see people texting me questions, so I have to ask. So
well, I know the answer to that, and so does Jonah.
Do tell, exclusive.
Yeah.
Colin?
No, Jonah would be in some serious pain.
Oh.
Whoa.
You know what? I do agree with that. I think that Jonah would take the beating and then just be like, well,
And
look what he
sue
did to
me.
me. Look what
know.
he did to me. How dare he? He would run with that.
I mean, trash.com
like
would
Alex.
be there.
Yeah, but even if nobody was watching and it was for some reason we got locked in a room and we were allowed to just go at it, Jonah would still go down.
Oh, don't worry. In Augusta, everybody has their eyes on somebody, especially trash.com. Just saying.
Candace, I actually have a question for you. So in season 3, are we actually going to see, or maybe possibly a real fight between Jonah and Gunnar?
I will say never, but we all know who's going to win if we do put y'all two together. I haven't slept with his son yet.
Yeah. Me either.
Oh my God.
And by me, I meant Danielle, my alter ego, because I am a saint.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Gunnar has his problems, but that isn't one of them.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, one of the major problems that we saw in season 2 was his relationship with his daughter, Caitlin. And I really want to know, were there any behind the scenes stories that you can tell when you were filming and recording with Lucretia?
Well, all of that for Brett was very hard because my son is trans and I love him and he's out and I'm a very supporting father. And so that said, I had to try and do a good job. And I think that the main thing is that what's hard for Gunnar is that he loves her to pieces, but he still has to make the choice that he makes because he has his principles and he knows how the world works. That's one of his problems, is that he knows in black and white what she is doing is wrong. The Bible says so. End of story. And that's not a debatable point for him. And so her making this choice in her life means that he has to be mean to somebody that he loves as much as anybody on this planet, so it's he says what he says, but he's ripping his own heart out when he's saying it. So I tried to throw some of that in there, not just be a hard ass about it, to show that side.
Don't you make me cry again. Don't you dare, just because we've been known, I've been known to do it. I'm holding back tears. I just want to say, Brett, seriously though, and I think I probably said in the last after show, is that you really are an amazing person. And I love that. I love that the acceptance that we have in this world. We need more people like you in this world and less, in my opinion, less Gunners in this world. Yeah. So there you go. You got some tears out of me, y'all. Didn't think it was going to happen. But Brett Lawrence, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, to hear you acting, to watch what you're doing. And I really do hope that we get some interaction between Jonah and Gunnar in season.
It doesn't have to be a fight. It might, maybe we team up for some reason.
Yeah, let's take down the guy who won.
Yeah, seriously. Who is that guy?
Yeah, right. John Driscoll, you're going down, John.
Yeah.
And I won't cry about it.
Yeah. All right. Maybe for some reason you can help me with some of the problems I got going on in my life.
There you go. What, you can't contact Andrew, or is he too busy with Miranda?
Well, no, I'm specifically thinking of Emma,
I don't know nothing about
Yes, you know nothing. We know nothing, but they do know something. And I know something is that you need to stay tuned because we have more Forever and a Day Season 2 extra after show reunion along the way.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the extra special Forever and a Day after show. They left me to have the biggest people come in, and I love it. We have the wonderful Ben Bryant. Hi, Ben.
Hey.
And we also have Veronica Dang, who's my personal favorite. I love you, Veronica. Hi. We have Novelle Lee. Woo. We have the beautiful Terry Lemer. And of course, we have our creator, Casey Hutchinson. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Servant a Day special after show. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great.
Absolutely great.
Good. I love it. I love that I had the most people to announce. Matthew said, Dorrell, you want it? I said, sure, friend. I'll do it. But before we get started, listen, Ben, talk to me about your portrayal of Gregory. By the way, I want to tell you, I appreciate everything that you said. Ben has been one of the personal cheerleaders for my character of Antoine this season. Anytime he hears it, he's like, hey, I love this. I like this. And it means so much to me. Every message I get from you, you're wonderful. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I mean it. I think at different points I've complimented everyone on here and everyone that you've probably talked to already. But Gregory was the most delightful surprise. I've known Candace and Casey for a very long time, more incidentally, passing ships crossing that. I've been a guest on both their podcasts in the past few years. And when they called, well, I called them because they had a casting and they said, we're not actually interested. They said, send me some stuff. They said, we're not actually interested in you for these characters. And I'm thinking, okay, I understand that's the business. And they said, no, we want Isaac to have a brother. Give us a longer term commitment than what we're talking about. And I said, sure. And they said, okay, just wait, because it's going to be a while. We're going to introduce him. And I would hear that name, stars Benjamin Bryant as Gregory Marshall, I think for like 18 episodes or however many we had in the first season. And then I finally got a script that and I think I had one line and then I had two lines in for the second to last episode, hello, brother, and then something like that. And I just had incredible trust that they knew what they were doing. And then the greatest surprise was I was shooting the film in Vegas and they said, we've got a new scene. And we shot the meet cute. I remember sitting in the desert in the heat, pretending I was cold, meeting Avery. And it was wonderful. Everything has been fantastic. I couldn't even imagine. Casey mentioned in a previous after show that I really get excited about this kind of thing. My only problem was that I sometimes just wanted to slap him upside the head and say, stop feeling sorry for yourself. And you know who checked me was Carrie Gonzell. She checked me. She said, she played Sky on All My Children at some of Sky's most self-destructive phase. And she says, you have to believe it. You have to understand it. Reach in there and find out. And once I realized that he knew how much work he'd done, and therefore couldn't somehow understand that everybody else was still dealing with the wreckage he left behind, who knows all the things that addicts, and as a gambling addict, the pain he put his family through. So playing that tension and crying a lot, and then the romance was just
Ben, I will never forget when you finally had a scene where you weren't crying and you were like, finally, after like 8 consecutive episodes, I don't have to cry tonight.
I got so excited because I opened it up and it says Gregory looks at a picture of Avery and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get my crying, and then he says, I wish I could have saved you. And for those who've heard the finale, Kalia's character Leslie comes in and for the first time somebody, probably just because they pity me, but I get some forgiveness up in here. 2 episodes in a row, I think, and it's been very meaningful. And the only thing is, I don't know. I've taken this entire journey with Veronica, and we rehearsed off screen, become friends. And I don't know if you know that I'm part Chinese American, so we've bonded over the experiences of Asian Americans right now. And so I'm at least hoping Avery comes to kick my ass as a ghost, because how many times did I say something like, "You have messed with me for the last time, Dominique"? And then I'm like, please don't hurt me, Dominique. Please don't kill anybody else. Nobody's gonna die.
No, Ben, you really are like the best cheerleader for the show, and we are so appreciative of it. And also, Veronica.
The WandaVision-esque thing.
It is very WandaVision.
I know, you're like disappearing. I was like, hello, what happened?
I know. Where are you?
I am not really in Las Vegas, which is, we've been doing a lot of things, interviews over the film that I'm doing set in Las Vegas. And
Avery.
Obviously, the world is falling apart. My grief is overtaking me, and expect bad things to happen.
So, Veronica, we already miss your character. We know, unfortunately, and if you don't already know, this is a little bit of a spoiler. If you are this far ahead in the series,
sorry to tell y'all.
that Avery has passed on. And I guess my question
Or has she?
Or that's what this is what I'm getting to. Oh, we are on the same page here because we have the writer who was in the Brady Bunch. Wait, I don't even know where I'm at right now in this Brady Bunch matrix that we call a Zoom. Veronica. So if you had the opportunity to come back as whatever you come back as, except for maybe even as a ghost, as Avery, how would you want to come back? And why don't you pitch it to Casey?
Well, my dream, because I want the full soap opera experience, is like I wanted to play an evil twin. Because Avery was so nice and she ended up in not a great place. So I feel like she deserves an evil twin that can like terrorize other people to make up for it. And the other option though that just came to me today, Casey, was since there was no big funeral of everybody crying, which they should have because she was the best doctor in town, maybe she didn't die. Maybe she plotted with Dr. Callum, and to like try to escape Dominique.
Dun,
And
dun,
she's
dun.
Gosh, I feel like James E. Riley is writing the show all of a sudden.
Hello, we love
find
that.
out somebody faked their death and didn't bother to tell like the children. It's like why?
It's possible.
I mean, she can't tell Gregory. He cannot be trusted.
It's a
fair. Hashtag fair.
But no, I mean, I personally loved writing for Veronica. I mean, it was famously only a guestin, and by a guestin, I mean like one episode. And she just gave Candace and I something. And I will never forget, after Candace and I recorded her scene, Candace and I had a big discussion about Veronica and how to work Avery into the show on a permanent basis. And, so what's interesting is we get to her death, Avery's death. And the reason behind that was because Candace and I felt that in about the past 10 years of daytime, that a writer would have a major story with no follow through. And so Candace and I were like, we have to follow through on this. We've made Dominique, a big bad for 20 episodes. And, Gregory stole $2 million from her. And so we need to make it the big bad. It can't be like when General Hospital did the Chimera story and they built it up for 6 months and nobody gets hurt and the episode ends. So it had to be something in which we needed actual stakes. And Veronica and Ben most certainly delivered, along with Lauren B. Martin. So it was such an honor to do that story in a way because their performances were so beautiful.
And can we just give a quick shout out to Lauren, because
yes,
she really was that dynamic. Gregory and Avery were very sweet. They were very tragic. They were very grounded. And so Lauren brought that soap. Lauren brought that soap. And every single time I would open the script and just howl and then say, how the hell are we going to pull this off? But she's a pro. She knows how to deliver the line where it goes right up to the line of being too much and then pull it right back. So absolutely delicious. So since she can't be here, just a big shout out to Lauren.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And Casey, I want to commend you on something you just said. You didn't, because you could have done what soap writers have done. You could have said, oh my God, we love Veronica so much, what you guys do. We're not going to kill her. We're going to completely change direction of the story. And you didn't. And I think it's so important, of course, I don't want Antoine to die, but if it happens, whatever. But the thing is I appreciate the fact that you guys are sticking to what you want the story to be. And I think that speaks to how authentic it is, because you have soaps now and shows all over the world that change their storylines because they're like, well, I like this actor or I like this person. And it's like, you can still like a person, but still be very true in the story you're telling. So I want to commend you and Candace and Tom and everybody on doing that.
Oh, thanks. And I love that you brought up Tom, because there was nobody better at follow through at the height of soap opera than Tom Racina. He
absolutely was.
Took it there. He wrote The Ice Princess. He didn't care that the show was getting pushed back of not marrying Luke and Laura for 2 whole years. He wrote for him and he wrote for the show. And that's certainly something Candace and I stick by with each passing episode.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, something that you guys said about the best doctor in town, I would like to see how Neville Lee feels about that statement, because I think that you feel that you are the best doctor in town because you are really going around and you're helping Melanie, and you've helped a lot of people. So how do you feel about that? And how did you feel about your co-doctor passing away, Neville?
Well, first of all, of course, I'm going to feel the best doctor in town. I mean, that's a given. Dr. Callum Becker is the best doctor in town, even though I don't think I had anybody survive under my watch so far.
That's what I'm saying. I save lives.
I will say that doing these... Had two so far, and then I lost the one. But you know,
well, to be fair, you and Dr. Hardy can take the half point for Avery. You guys can split that.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. We got that. I have to say that just talking about doing this role, especially in those scenes with Ben, and listening to Ben and Veronica do those final scenes together, I was completely and utterly mesmerized being a part of this. And the first thing I said to Casey when I opened the script up, I read the script before I started to read the lines, and I just went, first of all, how the hell did I get 16 pages?
That's how you know that they like you, Neville.
Is that how I get 16 pages?
I mean, you're getting less and less.
I got 2 lines.
But you know what, Terry? Terry, everybody loves you and everyone loves your character. And hopefully you get to hear. I think I was getting a little bit better with my Baltimorean. You know, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that Terry, there you go. I'm doing it again. That Lenore and Callum should be a really good match for each other. I think she's actually. There you go.
You can't say never on a soap, though. You can't say never on a soap. I honestly, Casey, I am looking forward to seeing what Callum has in store going forward. What is the history? I just need to know. There is a history between Callum and Greg, and I personally want to know what that is, because that is interesting to me. And plus, playing off of Ben is absolutely a thrill for me. He's incredible, and he just made it completely easy to for me to do all of those scenes with him, and I really want to see where that goes. I'm very interested in that, so it'll definitely be interesting for sure. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we always have to fill 30 pages somehow. So, who knows what will happen.
Oh my gosh. By the way, Terry, so we have been watching Lenore kind of flirt hardcore with Steven. I mean, believe me, the drinks at the Tasty Bean are sweet, but we think that Lenore is being even sweeter.
Yeah, she's very sweet. But if you think that's kind of flirting, like I just kept going, pull the sledgehammer back, honey. But
look, shameless Kim testing, okay?
Well, I have to say, what I'm excited about, and I hope that we explore this with Lenore, is like Sky's craziness had to come from somewhere. And I'm not necessarily saying it was from Lenore, but the father, Sky's father, I'm interested to see how that family dynamic really works and fits together. And I think, everything that you've been doing thus far has been really great, Terry. And I know that you're going to be excited, hopefully, when we get to learn more about Lenore and Sky and that family unit. I think we're going to see a different side to Lenore. I don't know anything because the writers, again, tell me
agree. Like, I mean, she's sweet and you can take sweet so far, but and then I go, well, a lot of characters started off kind of sweet on soap operas. Sammy Brady in soap operas is a sweetheart, little sweet, cute little thing when she started. Look at her. So, I mean, I think Lenore's got something there.
I agree.
You know, it's interesting what Terry brings to the role, because Lenore, what's interesting about Lenore is that Candace and I just felt as though we needed a fun character. Just somebody, you know, one of those wacky characters that soaps used to have on the back burner, but once in a while you would see them shine, which Terry, it does not matter if she has 2 lines or 3 pages or whatever, she will always shine in a scene because she just gets who this character is.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely do.
Lenore
it's
is
like
very
that
much
perfect relationship between writer and actor right there to make that character.
I have compared Lenore so many times to Esther Valentine from Young and the Restless. And because Esther was very sort of the comical relief for Catherine Chancellor, but then later on, Chloe turned out to be her daughter who returned and to wreak a little bit of havoc, very much like Skye did. And by the way, Terry, I'm rooting and hoping that Jonah goes after Skye. And because you know Mama Bear will be like, don't you dare talk to my daughter that way.
That's right. Don't mess with my baby.
Matthew is here
She's crazy, but she's mine.
He is here for this.
I have to say to you, Terry, I actually have a compliment for you. So the other day I was hanging out with Eileen Kristen, who you guys know portrayed Roxy and portrayed Delia, and she was listening to some of the Lenore stuff, and she said, I really feel like she is channeling a Roxy. She said, and I love what she's doing with the character.
Love, like she is one of my favorite characters because she's not your run-of-the-mill. I mean, I'm not your run-of-the-mill sort of person. So when you see somebody like her and like characters that she's brought to life and they're so quirky, and that is like a monstrous compliment to me. That is
I was gonna message you on social media, but then when I knew that we were doing this, I was like, I'm just gonna tell her live and in person.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Like I definitely like relate to those kind of characters. I remember growing up and Calliope from Days of Our Lives.
Calliope, that's another one. Yeah,
she
you're right.
like Calliope and Eugene, like everybody was like, Bo and Hope, they're so dreamy. I was like, I want to see Calliope and Jean. What hijinks are they gonna get into?
The original Harley Quinn.
The original,
Hello.
Exactly. And I mean, those are the characters. I mean, because that's the real life that we live in, right? Like there are those quirky people that you see all the time. I mean, to a lot of people, I'm that quirky, but we've all been that quirky friend, okay? So I think that it's important that Casey and Candace are showcasing that type of character, and you play it with such grace and with such humility, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
I can't wait either. I cannot wait. Casey!
Same here. I can't wait to see what Lenore does next.
That was so fun. I love doing that, Matthew.
I loved doing this whole season 2 after show. It was an absolute pleasure. It was an absolute joy just to work with you every Sunday and oh my gosh. So congratulations to the whole cast, the whole crew for a wonderful, amazing season 2. And as we learned from yesterday's episode of the after show, we know we're getting a season 3.
Woo! Cannot wait to come back and tell more new exciting stories about the residents of Augusta. It's going to be, I mean, a roller coaster. We've already seen what Casey and Tom and Sally and Candace have all came up with thus far. I can only imagine it's going to be crazier moving forward. I mean, I felt like they went the distance, and it's only going to go further.
By the way, so you know how we love playing games? I thought of one, just a mini game that we can play before we go. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So because, as we've seen from other shows like The Pit Stop with RuPaul's Drag Race, they kind of have like a recurring theme of putting new hosts in. So I'm going to say a person or a name who you think would be amazing candidate for season 3. Okay?
Okay.
For the after show of season 3. You ready? Yeah. Do you want to go first?
I'll have you go first because I need to think. I need to think.
This is my number one. My number one pick would be Quinn, who plays Colin.
My pick would actually be Terry, who plays Lenore, because I think it's so important to continue to bring people in and out of this world of Augustus. And one thing I want to say, to Casey and to Candace, there was a comment I saw earlier on that just really touched my heart. And it was from Ashley Morgan. I know we had a question from her earlier, and she spoke about how important this show was to her, that she, as someone who is blind, can hear and listen to this show. And she was just like, it just means so much to me as a person with this disability that I can enjoy this, I can see this, and you guys are really reaching out to the audience all around. And I just want to really applaud everyone at Forever and a Day, JLJ Media, for really touching people around the world with the show.
I also want to thank Tony Moore, your co-star, your scene partner, Tony Moore, and James Lott Jr., because they're the ones that kind of pioneered from season 1 to really help us out for the season 2 after show. And so I guess that for season 3, we're looking at you, Quinn, and we're looking at you, Terry. That's how we play. Who should host the next after show for season 3? But as always, there is so much happening at JLJ Media. So while there's a hiatus going on, you got to go to JLJ Media and listen to some amazing other shows.
Yes. It would be amazing. There's so many shows, as Matthew has talked about. Christina is a JLJ darling. She has a lot going on. Quinn also has a show that is streaming right now on JLJ Media. So check all of that out. And we will see you guys next season for an all new season of Forever and a Day. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.